Have you ever wanted to create professional AI videos, but your only available device was your phone? Most AI video generators are built entirely for desktop. That's why I took 8 of the biggest ones to see how they hold up when you run them through mobile. And by the end of this video, you'll have a clear picture of which tools are actually good on mobile and which ones are just a waste of time. Now, this test isn't about output quality, but what I want to see is how the actual experience of using these tools on a phone is, and how easy and smooth it all feels. Let's start with Hyo 3.1 from Google. And the first thing you need to know going in is that there is no mobile app for this one. So if you want to use it on your phone right now, you have 2 options: the Gemini app or Google AI Studio in a mobile browser. A native AI Studio Android app is on the way, and it's already on the Play Store open for pre-registration, so this will improve at some point. But right now, you're working around the problem rather than through it. Most people will try the Gemini path first because the app is already on their phone, and honestly, the app itself is clean and familiar, which is genuinely nice. But Hyo is buried inside a general-purpose chat interface. You're not opening an actual video tool. You're opening a chatbot, describing what you want and hoping it interprets that correctly. And you get 3 video generations per day through this path, so it's very limited. There are no more manual settings, no duration control, nothing you can do to affect your final output other than your prompt. The app's saving grace is its cancel button. Because the bot often generates responses mid-sentence, this button is a vital safety net. With a strict limit of 3 slots a day, being able to halt an accidental prompt instantly keeps you from wasting your precious quota on a half-baked idea. Now, the AI Studio browser path gives you more actual control, and you can see real settings, which is a step up. But the interface is built entirely for a desktop screen. On a phone, you're pinching and zooming just to navigate around it. It's one of the slowest workflows I went through in this entire test. The model quality itself is real. The output you can get from Hyo is good and reliable, but the way you access it on mobile right now adds so much friction that I actually found myself not wanting to use it entirely. However, the next tool I tested was a way more pleasant experience. I'm talking about Higsfield, which most people know it as a desktop platform, but there's actually a really easy way to get it on your phone, and that's through a progressive web app. You open your browser, go to Higgsfield.ai, and run the app straight in your mobile browser without having to install anything. From that point on, it opens full screen, and it looks and behaves exactly like a native app. What actually got me was that the UI isn't just a small version of the desktop side, but it's been rebuilt for mobile. The layout, the navigation, and the way elements are positioned are all designed around how you actually hold and use a phone, and the performance matches that completely. I went through the entire platform and it ran without a single moment of lag, and it's the only tool I can say that about on this list. And since it's an all-in-one platform, you get access to all the popular models like Seedance 2, Kling 3, and Hyo 3.1, alongside so many unique features that take content creation to another level. Everything is accessible, and it renders just as fast as it does on a desktop. The only drawback is that since this is a PWA rather than a native app, you may need to log back in. But that's small when in return you get one of the smoothest and mobile-friendly experiences. The next tool approaches mobile completely differently, and it is one of the more interesting ones here, with the experience changing quite a bit depending on which phone you are on. With Pika, the first thing you need to know is that if you're on Android, there is no official Pika app. The real team hasn't put anything on Android. iOS gets an official native app called PikaFX by Pika, and it's on the App Store. So if you're on iPhone, you're getting a proper native experience. But Android users are completely locked into a browser experience, and that's a significant portion of the mobile market being pushed away from a native experience before they've even started. That said, I want to be honest about what the browser experience actually feels like because it surprised me. The layout at Pika.art is clearly designed with mobile in mind. There's an inspiration feed, a PikaFX tab, and a library tab running across the top. At the bottom, there's a clean prompt bar with effect icons, a duration selector, and a model switcher. It doesn't feel like a desktop site that got squeezed onto a phone. Scrolling is smooth, switching between tabs feels natural, and uploading a video from your camera roll works natively in the browser. The core creation modes, including Pika twists, selfies, and direct video uploads, all work without major issues. There's an occasional 2-second freeze, but it's rare enough that it doesn't break the experience in any meaningful way, and there are no pop-up ads. It's a solid browser experience, and I want to give it credit for that. It just isn't a native app for half the people who might want to use it, and that's a hard thing to overlook when you're specifically evaluating these tools on mobile. The next tool has a native app, which immediately puts it in a different category, but the experience of actually opening it for the first time surprised me. Hailuo AI is one of the less popular video models, but when you open the app, the creation experience is actually clean. Once you're in the text-to-video or image-to-video screens, the layout is minimal, the prompt area is clear, the The settings are easy to read, and image reference works natively on mobile. The core generation modes are all there and fully functional. If that was all there was to it, this would be a straightforward recommendation. But after spending just a few minutes using it, you'll notice a big problem. When the app opens, you're immediately hit with a pop-up, then another one. The homepage itself stutters when you try to navigate through it. Scrolling feels slow, and the transitions between sections don't feel smooth. You end up spending real time just trying to get past the front layer and into the actual tool. It's also worth mentioning that iOS availability is uncertain. Depending on your version, it might now be available, which is something to keep in mind. It genuinely feels like two different apps stitched together. Trying to get in feels messy with lots of ads, but once you get past that, you have a very solid creation experience. And if you thought that Hailuo's opening was rough, the next one will surprise you even more, and not in a good way. Let's take a look at PixVerse. Now, before I even get into how the app actually runs, I want to point out that right now, PixVerse doesn't have a dedicated iOS app. Apple users have to make do with PixVerse Lite, which is a pretty limited experience compared to the full thing. And because of that, the App Store is filled up with fake PixVerse clones, and if you don't know exactly what you're looking for, you can easily end up downloading the wrong thing. However, PixVerse does have a web app that you can access right here. On Android, the app is easy to find and actively updated, so that's where I tested it. And the moment it opened, I was hit with a pop-up. And the moment I closed it, I immediately got another one. I got hit by two pop-ups before I'd seen a single feature or done a single thing. When you get past them, you'll notice a cluttered social-style discovery feed. It looks more like a social media platform than a video creation tool, and it's honestly overwhelming. Now, there are some benefits. The text-to-video creation screen, once you actually reach it, is reasonably clean. There are also a lot of trending templates and effects available if that's what you're after. But between the double pop-ups, the cluttered homepage, and the lag, the overall experience was the most frustrating one I had in this test. After that, I was genuinely curious whether the next tool would continue the pattern or finally break it. Kling AI is available as a proper native app on both Android and iOS, and they're both actively maintained with no fake clone problem to worry about. Once I opened it, I was surprised. All of the features are laid out cleanly and logically. The UI is minimal, the controls are easy to find, and everything responds smoothly. Smart multi-shot is there. Motion control is fully functional on your phone. These are genuinely advanced features that make Kling stand out, and they work exactly as you'd expect them to on a small screen. Uploading from your camera roll is clean, and getting your output back out is straightforward. Once you are inside the actual workflow, Kling is a noticeably different experience from most of what came before it. The homepage is where it gets a bit complicated. It's built like a social platform with a banner carousel at the top, feature tiles below that, a trends section that leans heavily on sports content, and a For You feed underneath all of it. It's busy, and navigating through it creates noticeable stutters, but depending on what you want out of it, you might find these things useful. But for plain video generation, that social feed structure gets in your way, and it's the one thing that holds the overall experience back from being as clean as it could be. It's a tool that clearly has a strong creation experience sitting behind a homepage that's trying to do too many things at once, and the gap between those two parts of the app is genuinely noticeable. The next tool takes a quieter approach to the homepage, and it makes a real difference in how the whole experience feels from the moment you open it. ImagineArt is one of the tools that hold up really well when you actually sit down and use it. There's a native app on both Android and iOS, and when you open it, there is an upsell pop-up, but everything feels clean after you get rid of it. The homepage has a clear AI tools row at the top with colorful icons for all tools, AI Assist, AI Images, AI Videos, and AI Edit. It gets a bit busier further down with UGC video templates and an AI photoshoot gallery, but it never feels overwhelming. Now, there is a slight input delay throughout the app. It's nothing major, just a small lag on taps and transitions that means it isn't quite as smooth as you'd want it to be. It's noticeable, but it doesn't stop you from doing anything. What I kept coming back to was how much you can actually do on mobile. AI Videos, AI Images, AI Edit, UGC templates, and AI Photoshoot are all accessible without anything being locked away. And once you're inside the video generation tab, everything runs smoothly. The screen is focused, the controls are clean, and the depth of what you can actually do is genuinely strong for a tool that doesn't get talked about as much as some of the bigger names. It's not the flashiest tool in this list, but it's dependable, it's complete, and it doesn't try to upsell you before you've even written a prompt. That combination is more valuable than it sounds. The last tool I tested is the one that gave me the best first impression of anything in this entire test. I've been through a lot of app openings at this point, so when I opened Runway and was was met with a clean dark screen that simply asked what I wanted to make today, it genuinely stopped me for a sec. There are no pop-ups, no social feed, and no distractions. You just have a very clean and easy to understand interface that's waiting on your input. It's also available on both Android and iOS, which is a big plus. From there, the experience stays consistent. The side menu organizes everything clearly, and all the features are laid out in a way that's easy to navigate. Gen 4.5 video is right there and fully functional. Everything about moving through this app feels considered and intentional in a way that's genuinely rare across the tools I tested. The UI is really good from a design perspective, and the experience of using it is genuinely enjoyable. But if you're someone who wants to do professional work from your phone and not just quick clips, you'll eventually notice that the feature set doesn't go as deep as some of the other tools in this test. What I mean by that is that on mobile, you're essentially working with the core generation tools and not much else. Things like Act 2 and characters are there, but the overall toolkit feels like it was cut for simplicity rather than depth. You're not getting the kind of layered creative control on your phone that a tool like Higsfield gives you. So if you're trying to build out a full workflow from your phone, you'll start hitting the ceiling quicker than you'd expect from a tool with Runway's reputation. What this test made clear is that most of these tools were built for desktop first and mobile second. So here's the final ranking. Hyo comes in at number 8. No dedicated app, a 3-generation daily cap through Gemini, and a chatbot that can burn your limited slots before you're done typing. Pika sits at number 7. The browser experience on Android is surprisingly decent, and the iOS native app is solid, but locking half your audience out of a native app is a real penalty. PixVerse is number 6. It's overflowing with pop-ups, the actual tools are hard to find, and the app itself admits it's missing features compared to the web version. Hailuo AI is number 5. The creation screens are genuinely clean once you get to them, but there are still lots of ads that slow everything down. At number 4 is Kling AI. You get excellent creation tools once you're inside, but the social feed homepage drags the overall experience down for me. ImagineArt is number 3. It's reliable with no pop-ups and solid feature coverage. The minor input delays keep it from the top 2, but it deserves more credit than it gets. At number 2 is Runway because of how clean and user-friendly it is. The only reason it sits at number 2 is because the things you can do on mobile can't compete with the number 1 tool. And at number 1 is Higsfield. For a tool that gives you so many things to work with, there is zero delay. The UI feels like it was genuinely rebuilt for mobile instead of just having the desktop version. But the best part by far is that every single feature that exists in the desktop version you can access through your phone. Cinema Studio, Supercomputer, all the best image and video models, and honestly so many other things can all be controlled right from your phone screen. If you need a tool that allows you to create professional outputs and access full workflows, Higsfield is the only one you can do that with, and all from your own phone. So if you're serious about creating professional AI videos, as well as having access to some of the best features this workspace has to offer, click the link in the description to get started with Higsfield. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.